What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Fiery Fridays. Draft day is tomorrow, so we'll dive into a little bit of draft content today. The Porzingis trade happened this morning, along with Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies. Huge blockbuster trade to start the offseason. Obviously, there was a little bit of dilemma with the first trade, which sent Malcolm Brogdon to the Clippers, and that got cancelled. We're all presuming as basketball fans that there's going to be a lot of trades tomorrow. There's a lot of trade rumors circulating. And I'm excited. Draft day is one of the best times of the year. And I'm keen to see what happens tomorrow. So Bailey, how you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Interesting day to kick off things for tomorrow. I hate when we get a bit excited and sometimes the big trades don't come off because it's always, I reckon, one of the funnest times of the year going into this. But by the way it's been today, I think we can be expecting some pretty good things tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll get into the first question. I'm going to reshuffle. I'm going to put the third question second. So we'll start
Okay.
off with our draft questions.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's top 5 picks. We're not going to, uh, yeah, talk too much about picks 1 to 15. We'll just give our top 5. Obviously, there's a little bit of confusion around who's going around 2 to 5, especially the 2 spot. A little bit up in the air, and we don't know what trade's going to happen. So let's see who you have in order from the first pick to the 5th pick.
Give me a second because I only wrote down their last name, so I'll get the email you sent me and I'll read out their
Yeah.
first names. Hold up. Here we go. All right, so first of all, pretty simple. Victor
Yep.
Wembanyama, or however you say it, going to the Spurs. I think there shouldn't actually be a market for it on any betting app. I'd say it's locked in. I think this is a generational type player where, let's say things don't go to plan, it doesn't matter. You've got to take your chance with this guy. 7 foot, what is he, 4?
I think they listed him at 5 now, 7'5".
7'5".
Yeah.
Still one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. Is a putback off your own 3. You'd think that's almost impossible. The way he moves on the floor, we haven't really seen from anyone other than Kevin Durant moving like that. And he's got an extra 5 or 6 inches on him. So he's definitely going number 1. Are we going to go back and forth like who you're going number 1 now?
I want to hear your starting.
Okay.
Your 1 to 5.
Okay. Number 2, I've changed. I was very keen on Brendan Miller going to Charlotte, but I just think the way that these people are talking about Scoot, who cares if he's another point guard on your team? I think he's a bit more talented.
Yep.
Scoot Henderson than Brendan Miller. So that's the way I'd be playing it. Like you can move LaMelo to the 2. I think even though Brendan Miller is definitely a better fit for the team, I'd say in my opinion right now, you just take the better player on the board. This is all speculation. Of course, we have no idea what's going to happen. And I think you just hope they can make it work. It's not like you're going to complain about having 2 really good guards on your team. We've seen that work in the past for Golden State, for example, made a dynasty out of it. So I've moved him to 2nd, even though I know a few weeks ago I was playing it pretty simple, just go take Brendan Miller Hornets. But now I think you take Scoot just from a bit of word around the league. And I think he might just have a bit more. He looks like he wants to be there a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I know this actually doesn't change anything to do with the person, but for someone to come out and say Paul George is the greatest of all time, just makes me think he obviously knows he's going to cop backlash for that and everything, but it's just a stupid thing to say. It's not even it's almost unlaughable. Like there's not one person on this planet who actually believes that. And it seems like he was dead serious as well. So I know it doesn't actually change his talent or anything, but it's just something that made me look at it and was just the final piece of the puzzle. I just go, yeah, no, you're going 3rd. So then I think you look at the 3rd pick. I think you've still got to take him there, which I know this will link into a little bit later, but this has me thinking Dame's on the move because I just don't think Dame and Brendan Miller are going to do anything different. Maybe, a couple more wins this season. So I think Dame's on the move, but we're going to touch on that later. I know that in the other questions. And I think you get a good small forward, good defender, can shoot the ball, can kind of do a little bit of everything. And you can kind of start to just rebuild this roster around, a good forward. And I think he'll fit in nicely there around, they've got some young pieces in there that we were touching on, I think, last week. So Yeah, I think he'll go third. Now, fourth pick, I've actually got Anthony Black.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
really, really liked
Mm.
like the way he plays in that. A real defensive guard with a lot of playmaking. We've seen how good these taller guards have been coming into the league. You know, Giddy, LaMelo. There's a few that are escaping me right now, but just that the ones that are a bit taller, they can facilitate, and the way he plays defense, I really, really liked. And I just think he would fit on any team right now. Who's got the fourth pick, by the way?
The Houston Rockets, who are kind of
Mm,
missing a point guard at the moment. So
yeah,
he'd fit right in. A
yeah,
lot of people actually have Anthony Black going that high. Some have the
really.
thing, but yeah, some as I've seen him as high as 4. So
Yeah,
yeah, right
that's
pick.
I'd be taking. I really think he is talented. I think he's real professional. Like you're going to get a lot out of him early. He might not have as much upside as some of the others, but I think he's going to be consistent throughout his whole career. Just looks like he'll fit the NBA perfectly. Now, fifth, this was a bit of a debate for me. I'll just get my notes up so I get his name right. Now, um, honorable mention, Eamon Thompson,
Yeah,
but I've gone fifth here. Is it Jarris Walker?
yeah, Jarris Walker.
Yeah, like professional 3-and-D player, can guard your best player, can shoot the three. It's what you want in the playoffs. Maybe won't do, probably not a player who's going to be doing as much as the others points wise or anything like that, but he's going to be solid night in, night out. Really good at defending with his chest, a bit of more of a solid guy, can, get those chest bumps, gets those, blocks and steals kind of. And then down the other end, just a nice catch and shoot, doesn't have to dribble it or anything. You just kick it to him, can make those, semi-contested threes. I think he's a great fit for who's the fifth pick?
Pistons.
Pistons, yeah,
Yeah,
perfect for them.
yeah,
That's ideal, I reckon. And then, yeah, like I said, Eamon Thompson looks to be was an honorable mention because I was tough to, not have him in the top five. But I think he's a little bit more like high potential, not as professional as the others. And we've seen a lot of these come through. One at the top of my head, Cam Reddish, where you get these like longer guards, like shooting guards / small forwards who can shoot the ball and are athletic and can, dribble. And it just doesn't work out that well in the NBA. Like when you get a good defender on him, like there was a lot watching going through his highlights and stuff. There's a lot of stuff where I'm going, that's not going to cut it in the NBA. So I just think maybe he might struggle a little bit at the start. He might figure it out, but I'll be backing Anthony Black and Jarris Walker to be, better throughout their career. But like definitely not a professional scout or anything. And I doubt that these will actually happen. But that's just how I would be taking it,
yeah,
off a little bit of a study, I guess.
yeah. Now I was gonna overthink it and go a little bit risky, but I think I'm gonna stick to my normal pick because if it happens the normal way I thought it would, then I'd be pretty annoyed that I went risky and I look like an idiot. So I'm gonna do Wemby first. I think there's no one close to what he offers, especially on the defensive end. Obviously, he's almost got a 9-foot wingspan. He's 7'5". His pick and roll defense is something I've never really seen before, where he can almost guard your shot or floater to the point where you're releasing the ball. And even if you choose to pass it, he can either tip the pass or get to the next player almost
Yeah.
instantly. It's pretty hard to stop. And if the pass somehow gets off and the player gets the basket, he's turning around and he's right there with
Yeah.
his 9-foot wingspan almost covering the rim. So I'm going to go Wemby first. He can shoot, he can create. He's like a point guard with his handles, something I've never seen before, and I'm excited. And I don't think there is any question as to why you would pick him at first. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't. But I don't think you should consider anyone else at that one spot.
Yeah.
At the 2, I don't think the Hornets will have the second pick tomorrow. I think the Pelicans are going to give him Zion or Ingram. Whether they add in something else, maybe Dyson Daniels is in the package. Maybe the 14th pick is in the package. I'm not too sure, but I don't think the Pelicans want to keep Zion. There's a lot of off-court drama going on. He's been injury prone. And if Hornets kind of, they see LaMelo and they compare him with a 28 per game, certified star when he's playing with Zion, why take the risk
Yeah.
with the pick? And, they've already got a guard in LaMelo. If they think Scoot and LaMelo are going to bump heads, I would take Zion in the 14th pick. I mean, you're still going to get a solid player at 14 and you get Zion who can hopefully stay healthy and keep his mind straight. So I don't think the Hornets are going to have the second pick tomorrow. So I'm going to go Scoot Henderson. And I think he will be a Pelican. They'll put him and CJ in the backcourt. CJ can move back to the 2 guard. They still have Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, etc. So I think Scoot Henderson will have a really good spot in the Pelicans to thrive, and they can be a dark horse in the West. Not sure how well he's going to go, but I'm a big fan of Scoot. I think he's aggressive. Obviously, people love these high pick guards, sort of like your Ja Morants. So I'm a big fan of Scoot. I think he should go second. I don't think the Hornets will take him second though. So if the Hornets keep their pick, I'm hearing that they're going to take Brendan Miller, but I don't think they're going to have it. At the 3, I am hearing that Damian Lillard wants to stay. So I don't think they're going to keep this pick. I think they're going to trade it for a star level player, whether that be the Raptors. I'm not too sure, but I think the Raptors won't go Brendan Miller if they get the chance. I think they'll go Armin Thompson at the point guard position. He's 6'7". Obviously, the overtime elite league is a little bit, it's not up to par as compared to college basketball. But the reports that are coming out about Armin in pre-draft workouts is that he is one of the best athletes that people have seen. And the Rockets said that it's one of the best workouts they've ever had. And I just think, a lot of people would rather take the athletic point guard that's 6'7" and a bit of an all-round player rather than, the spot-up wing shooter with a bit of defense. In my opinion, Brendan Miller against top 50 schools, I think I read he didn't shoot too well. In the March Madness when the games mattered, I think he shot 18% from the field. It's just a little bit risky. So I'm a big fan of Brendan Miller. I think he will work out. And I think he'll fall fourth to the Rockets, and I think the Rockets will be pretty happy with that. And then you can move Brendan Miller to the 3 in Houston. You can have your KPJ, Jalen, and then Brendan Miller at the 3, and then Jabari Smith at the 4 and Şengün at the 5. I think Brendan Miller slots in pretty well in Houston. So I have Brendan Miller falling to Houston at 4, which is a little bit interesting. But if no trades happen, I do easily see Miller going second, Scoot 3, and Armin 4th. And then at the 5, I'm going to agree with you and go Jarris Walker. Definitely a big 4-man. One of the higher motor guys in the draft, and he definitely screams Detroit basketball, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a risky pick here and pick Taylor Hendricks, a 4-man that can stretch the floor. But I think Jarris Walker's the right pick here. Cam Whitmore is obviously a popular pick in the top 5 to go 4 or 5. I've heard Houston had a good workout with Cam Whitmore as well. But I just don't think that's the direction they go in. I think you rather go Pistons. I don't think they're going to go for a guard. They might take Cam Whitmore. That wouldn't surprise me, but I think Jarris Walker's the better pick at 5. So I think Armin might slot into the top 3, but we'll see. I hope Anthony Black falls to 8 at the Wizards. That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm praying he doesn't go 4th to Houston. But we'll see. I think there's going to be a trade. Both trades are going to happen at the 2 and 3 spot. I think, especially if the Portland want to keep Dame Lillard. The second question, the Porzingis trade went down today. I'll read out the details of the trade for everyone listening. The Celtics received Kristaps Porzingis, the 25th pick in tomorrow's draft, and a 2024 first-round pick via the Warriors, which the Grizzlies owned. And then the Grizzlies received Marcus Smart, and the Wizards received Tyus Jones from the Grizzlies, Gallinari from the Celtics, Muscala from the Celtics, and the 25th pick in tomorrow's draft via, they've got that here twice. So, we've got the 35th pick, sorry, in tomorrow's draft, so second round pick. What are your thoughts on the trade? Who won and who benefited the most?
I think, well, obviously, you can't really say the Wizards lost, I think, because they're clearly not there to compete. What's the point of having Kristaps? So I don't think they've lost. They probably didn't get back anything ideal that sets them up for the future. But I mean, they get the 35th pick. That's probably all they care about right now. Let's just get something tomorrow and get back to the drawing board. Obviously, they gave up Bradley Beal for not much as well. So it looks like it's full, cards are out, whatever the saying is. We're ready to fully call it now. And yeah, so I don't think they've done anything wrong. They probably just haven't got back exactly what they want. You look at the Celtics getting Kristaps, giving up Smart. I mean, they were happy to give up Brogdon. Probably, I'd say last year Smart was better than Brogdon throughout the season, so they probably had to give up a little bit more. I can't remember the first trade if they were getting anything else other than Kristaps, any picks or anything. But they've got, 2 first round picks now, which will, probably, you got what Golden State in the 25th tomorrow. So you're probably not looking at anything above 20 anyway. But I mean, that probably suits them. Brogdon maybe starts now.
I presume so, unless they move Derek White to the 1, go Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, Rob Will, or they
Yeah,
go the Brogdon, White, Brown, Tatum, Porzingis.
Horford off the bench.
Yeah, or Horford at the 4, Porzingis at the 5.
Yeah, so however that works out. I mean, I think they had to change up something. They did have a lot of those, like, Derek White, Brogdon, and Smart were all similar-ish players where it was kind of hard to get. I mean, it clearly didn't work. They lost to the Heat in 7. So I suppose they had to switch something up. They give up Smart. They probably didn't want to have to, but they've done it. I think that's a positive. I mean, they look a bit more dangerous now. I think the Celtics, Kristaps just has to stay healthy, I guess. But I think the Grizzlies probably win the most out of this. Smart's going to fit on that team perfectly. He can be that dog along. Ja Morant kind of replaces, he's like Dylan Brooks is like a Kmart version of him, where now you get that annoying defensive presence who actually, can do something other than Brooks just really talking. So I think it suits them pretty good, actually, the Grizzlies. I think they benefited heaps. They'd only have to give up the 25th tomorrow, but they're ready to compete now. Like, they were second in the West, so they don't care about getting, these back-end draft picks, even though I suppose you got to take them when you can, but they're not too worried about that right now. I think they've done the best in this trade.
Yeah. I think the Celtics are definitely the winners of the trade. I think anyone can kind of agree with that. Porzingis, obviously, I've seen a lot of hate about how's this guy still in the league. I'm not sure where those comments are coming from. He had 24 points a game, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. I'm not sure how many blocks he had, but he's a great shot blocker. It'd be close to 2. He can spread the floor. He shoots threes from nearly the logo. He's, like I said before, he's a great shot blocker. And I think this opens up a lot of things for the Boston Celtics. Obviously, it gets to that point, where Jaylen Brown's dribbling it off his feet in that Heat series and Tatum's not knocking down shots. And I feel like Marcus Smart is a huge core to that team. And he's obviously, the heart and soul of that Celtics team. But it's just not the firepower you need. And I think Brogdon can easily fill that role. Brogdon's a great player. But I think Porzingis being on the floor is just going to open a lot up for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and it's going to add another piece of firepower that you can throw at teams like the Nuggets, the Heat, Philly, Bucks, etc.
Yeah.
So I think they definitely won the trade. They got a 25th first-round pick out of it somehow. I don't know how the Wizards didn't get that pick, and they got a pick next year. I'm not sure how the Wizards gave up Porzingis and got the second-round pick. Maybe that falls on Porzingis' 35 mil contract. I'm not too sure. Tyus Jones for the Wizards. I mean, they were going to get Marcus Morris, who I think they would have waived anyway. It would have been a mere coffee in the 30th. They've gotten Tyus Jones, the 35th, and then whether they use Muscala and Gallinari, I don't think they're going to be there in the long run. So I'm not too mad about it. I mean, Tyus Jones obviously is a big part of the Grizzlies. I mean, before Marcus Smart got announced, a lot of people were mad that, they lost Tyus Jones because Ja Morant's going to be out for the first 25 games. And, a big part of why the Grizzlies are good without Ja Morant is because Tyus Jones fills in. I think he's got the best turnover to assist ratio in the league.
Wow.
And he's still young. He is on a bit of a hefty contract at 14 mil. But obviously the Wizards can afford it now. They've gotten rid of, I don't know if they're going to bring back Kuzma for a sign trade, but they've obviously gotten rid of Kuzma, Porzingis, and Beal. So I'm pretty happy to pay Tyus Jones. I think he's a very similar player, almost the same player as Monty Morris. I don't know if we let Monty walk or we trade him as well. But a 35th pick, we're not complaining. I think they're going to move a lot of cap room. And a lot of people are saying that the new Wizards front office, they've pretty much cleared the front office and restarted. You can't really blame the new guys for the bad contracts that the Wizards were on. I'm pretty sure they're just trying to get rid of them and restart. And the Wizards are going to try and do what the Thunder did, to the point where they've got so much cap space where the good teams are going to have to unload their, bad contracts to the Wizards. And for the Wizards to take it, they're going to have to give them first round picks. And eventually they'll be loaded with picks like the Thunder. and they're going to have to build through the draft, which isn't a bad outlook. I mean, Wizards have been stuck in that 9-10 spot for a very long time. It's always been smoke and mirrors where we always thought Beal could, be that guy for us. It's hard to say and admit it, but he's never going to be that guy on a championship team. He will be good on the Suns as a third option, of course. But yeah, I'm happy the Wizards are restarting. It's been a long time coming, and obviously it's not what we want for Beal and Porzingis, but hopefully we get a good player at the 8th pick and he develops pretty nicely. Hopefully it is Anthony Black. I really like Keontae George. Kobe Buffkin as well would be a good player on our team. So Marcus Smart and the Grizzlies, I like it. I like it a lot. I think he fits that culture. Great point guard, in my opinion, very underrated. And I think he's going to be a great fill-in for the first 25 games for the Grizzlies. When Ja Morant comes back, he's going to have to take a 6-man role, which will be pretty interesting to see. I don't know if they start him over Desmond Bane. I doubt it. But they are moving Dylan Brooks, so maybe they slide Desmond to 3. We'll see. But I like this trade for all teams pretty much. I think the Celtics got a lot better. I don't like that my Wizards are strengthening the Suns and the Celtics. But Bradley Beal had a no trade clause, not really his fault. And yeah, they obviously found this deal for Kristaps. They had to do it before he opted into his contract at midnight. Otherwise, he would have become an unrestricted free agent, and the Celtics might not have got him either. So I don't mind it. I think the Wizards did all right for the time, and I like the Grizzlies picking up Smart, and I like the Celtics getting Porzingis. I think it makes it more interesting in the East. So I like it.
You got some bad years to come.
Yeah, we do. Some very long years. Hopefully, our draft picks perform, and it's a little bit exciting to produce some sort of highlights. But yeah, we'll see. Draft day trades that you would like to happen tomorrow. I want you to give me one trade. We'll kind of skip over this because I don't want you to harp on it for too long.
Yeah.
But just give me one trade that you would like to see tomorrow. It can be anything.
I want Lillard to the Heat.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. Not obviously you got to keep Bam and Jimmy. Okay. That's it. I think what were they giving up for Beal? Lowry, Duncan,
and picks.
Give him the same thing and just say to Lillard, mate, you make the decision. You want to go play there. You know what the culture's like there. It's pretty good. And just go, yep, send me there right now. Give them the exact same trade you're going to give for Beal. I know Lillard's better than Beal, but at this stage, I want the Portland rebuilding and I want the Heat contending. So just suck it up. Being loyal is not, it's good for you, but it's not helping your legacy or anything. You could have gone down. Well, you still can, I guess, as, a top 10 point guard of all time if you just suck it up and forget about that loyalty for a bit and go there. And I guarantee you'll have a lot better time winning, as the underdogs on the Heat than what you're doing right now. So whatever it takes, just get it done.
Yeah, I love Dame as a player, and I think, that sort of, if he moves to the Heat, the pressure of him, being in Portland Trailblazer, now he's got to move, and that pressure of like Heat were just in the Eastern Conference Finals. You need to go there and win now. I don't think that would necessarily affect him too much. I think he can go there and make an impact, and he's in the right situation, he might be the best point guard in the league right now. So draft day trade I would like to happen tomorrow. I'm going to go the opposite. I think if the reports are true and they're going to keep Damian Lillard, I would like to see the Clippers move away from Paul George and send Paul George to Portland. I think Paul George can take a similar role to him and Westbrook, and kind of, if he locks in and, stays healthy, he can definitely be, a top 5, top 10 MVP. He's one of the best two-way defenders in the league. He'd be the second option on that Portland team. They've still got Nurkic. They've got Jeremy Grant. They've got Anthony Simons, Dame and PG. Got a few young guys off the bench. And maybe they include something else. I'm not sure what it would be. But Clippers get the 3rd pick and they take Scoot Henderson. Scoot goes to play with Norman Powell. Russell Westbrook as 6-man still could definitely mentor Scoot, and Scoot goes to play with Kawhi Leonard. It's got a stacked bench, Clippers. They just got to stay healthy. They did all right against the Suns. I know they lost 4-1, but they definitely competed. And with Kawhi Leonard, who, in your opinion and a lot of other people's opinions, is the top 5 player in the league when he's healthy, and then arguably the number 1 pick in the draft if Wemby's not there, they could definitely do some damage, the Clippers. And maybe they make a few off-season moves. Maybe they try and get Draymond Green. I'm not too sure. Maybe Grant Williams is still on the board. Maybe Kyle Kuzma is an option for them. Definitely, I wouldn't mind that at all. Portland go and get Paul George, try and, fairy tale end Lillard's run in Portland. If it doesn't work, blow it up the year after, and then scoot to Clippers would be a pretty cool thing for LA. I'm just not too sure if that Portland Kawhi thing's working out to the best of its ability. Another low key one. I don't think the Pistons need the 5th pick. I like Jarris Walker going there, but I wouldn't mind them trading down in the draft and getting some sort of asset, and someone else going to 5th. Wouldn't mind that at all. So I would like to see the Pistons trade down, get maybe the Orlando's 11th and 6th, and Orlando gives them something. That wouldn't be too bad for Pistons either. So I would like to see the Pistons move out of the 5th spot, I think.
Yeah.
This is a fan question. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Gus, but Gus Redden, shout out to Gus. He submitted the question, who are you most excited to see on the Boomers roster come September for FIBA? This is an interesting question. Who am I most excited to see play? I'm going to go an obvious choice and say Josh Giddey. I think he hasn't had a big role in the Boomers yet. He had an exceptional season with the Thunder. I think he averaged like 16 points. Can't remember 8 and 7, something like that. And I'm keen to see how he fits next to Patty Mills, if they're going to start Ben Simmons with him. I'm keen to see if he carries the team. Obviously, he's putting up the best stats in the league compared to everyone else, and it's quite a clear, difference compared to everyone else as well. He's the only one that starts in the NBA. I'm just kind of keen to see if he takes control of this team or he falls back to a third option behind Patty, Simmons, etc. But Josh Giddey and how he fits in with this roster, I'm really keen to see. Do we keep him on late in game when they're scoring buckets in USA? Can he defend? Is he going to be putting up 20? It does go back to FIBA rules. He played pretty well in the NBL doing that as well. So I'm keen to see Josh Giddey. Another one I'm keen to see. I don't think he'll make the final cut, but I was really excited to see Will McDowell-White. I've been following him for quite some time now. Obviously, we've been filming him here in Queensland. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to do a lot of good things for the Breakers next year. And I think he's one of the most talented, one of the more talented guards in the NBL. So I was excited to see him picked. If he makes the 12 as the 12th man or 11th, that would be pretty cool to see, but I highly doubt it. But I was excited to see Will McDowell-White make the roster.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen. I've always been a big fan of Dyson. So I'm assuming you'll make it, just being that young player coming up. And yeah, I just hope maybe he gets a bit more of a role there where he's a bit more confident around players. He's, been around a lot more, and I'm hoping even if he's just putting up, like 10 points, 5 rebounds, a couple of assists, 2 or 3 steals a game, I reckon he'll kill it on the defensive end there. And just be that player who, comes off the bench when their starters are on and you just put them on their best player and just, work him, chest bump, etc. So I'm pretty keen to see him there. I reckon he'll elevate a bit coming into next season.
Yeah, I like it. We'll get into the questions of the week. I'll start with my one this week. I want you to predict exactly, obviously draft day is being tomorrow. And before I say this question, I want people to come back and prove him wrong and save this clip if Bayley is so out of the ballpark. But I want you to predict Wembanyama's stat line: points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. And I want you to predict how many wins the Spurs are going to get. Obviously, it's a bit hard. Free agency and the draft hasn't started. So we can come back and have a look at it and see how you go. But I want to hear what you think is going to happen next season.
I'm going to go 26 points.
26 points. Okay.
I just don't think, how can you stop this guy? Like, what kind of big in the league can either keep up with him outside? Like, I think they're just going to be throwing the ball to him. Like, why would you not? And like, I see him averaging, 2 or 3 threes a game. I see him getting fouled a lot. That's already, 9 points, say 6 free throws. That's already 15. And then think of all the second chance points. I honestly think this guy could easily put up, what did I say, 26?
Yeah.
Maybe 25 points a game, like so easily. Rebounds, he'll grab a lot, 10 plus easily. Like I'm thinking 12 to 14 in that range. And like, just as soon as they miss, I just don't see many people. You're not going to out jump him. People can't jump to the top Oh, I mean, I suppose they can, but when he's jumping as well, no one's going to be able to get that high. Um, and then just all those little tip ins around the rim, offensive rebounds, like him just missing and grabbing the ball straight back and putting it in. I could, yeah, 25 is a lot, but I could see it happening with those, 12 rebounds. Assists, maybe, two or three just off rebound kick outs. Maybe, kick ons when they kick it to him on the three, the extra pass. So, yeah, maybe two or three. What was the other one? Blocks and steals, or just blocks. Steals, you'll probably maybe, oh, geez, that's tough.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to predict that.
Because he's just got such long arms. You probably have like 1 to 2 a game. Not surprising. He's probably having three to four blocks a game. Yeah. Like it's gonna be crazy. I'm jumping on I'm jumping on him being elite rather than no good at all. I would be backing that a lot. You just don't see a player like this in a very long time. And I think, there's always a possibility that it's not going to work out. But I think watching him play, he'll just be getting better and better and better. And I think the NBA is actually going to suit him a lot.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a weird sort of stat line from him. I'll quickly say mine. Obviously, it's not my question, but I reckon we're going to see 19 a game. Obviously, the Spurs have a little bit of firepower with Vassell and Keldon, but obviously it takes some time to sort of sink into the NBA. So 19 is still a lot for a rookie, but 26 isn't a bad shot. I'm going to say 19. I just think they're going to send doubles at him and they're going to sort of figure him out a little bit, but he's going to figure it out. There's going to be a lot of, under the rim sort of baskets for him, a lot of putbacks, a lot of pick and roll baskets, floaters close to the rim. It's going to be really hard to stop. So I think he's going to put up about 19 a game. I'm going to say he's going to put up 16 rebounds per game, which is like 8 per half, 4 a quarter. I don't think that's a bad bet. I think he's young. Obviously, in his French league, he played 70 games this season. He didn't miss a game. And he still just was playing the other week, and the draft's in 2 weeks. A lot of people drop out. So I don't think he's going to be missing games at all. And I think he's going to be playing about 40 minutes a night. So I don't think that's a bad bet. I think he's going to have about 5 assists. The doubles are going to come. The O-board kickback outs. He's going to be drawing a lot of attention. And I think these spot-up shooters on the Spurs can definitely assist him. I think he's going to get about 0.8 steals. It's just a guess. I'm not too sure. And then blocks, I think he's going to be putting up 4 or 5. With the 9 foot, reach. Yeah. It's pretty hard to not get blocked, especially tipping shots from the 3, the mid range. I don't think 4 or 5 blocks is a bad bet. So I think 19, 16, 5, 1, and 5 is what I would go. It's a pretty hard guess, though. He might score more than that. I would be pretty worried that he'd score more rather than less. So, your guess isn't too bad.
What do you like? What would it take, do you think, for him to be Rookie of the Year? And can you be MVP on your rookie year?
Yeah, Derrick Rose did it.
No, but that was his set couple of years in.
Yeah, what are the chances that he wins MVP in his rookie year?
What would his stat line need to be? It's
something crazy. He needs to outstat Jokic, and he needs to drop over 30 points per game, because I feel like those guys are the only guys that sort of get considered. Your Embiids, who had 33 a game, your Shai Gilgeous, who had about 32 a game, and he was 5th. And it's pretty hard because I feel like your team needs to be somewhat good. So I think they need to be a top 5 or 6 seed for people to take him seriously. Shai was a pretty, unique one because they were 10th, but no one really expected them to do anything. So if the Spurs can slot into the 8th seed or 7th seed in the West, then maybe people consider him, especially because they were 15th last season. He comes in and brings them to 7th. Maybe that's what it would take. I think the stats are going to be there no matter what.
Yeah. Okay. All right. My question of the week kind of goes off that. Where do you see the Oklahoma City Thunder sitting next year with obviously Shet coming back?
Good question. Where do I see the Thunder sitting? It's pretty hard to tell with obviously the draft not commencing yet and free agency, but I'm presuming the Thunder are going to stick with the same team. Where do I see them sitting? I don't think they're better than the Nuggets. I don't think they will be better than Golden State. I think Golden State will sort of make some moves. Draymond's opted out. Jordan Poole is questionable. Obviously, a lot of people think he's going to move this offseason, but the Warriors are always sort of good. who else is in the West?
Suns.
The Memphis Grizzlies are always great in the regular season. The Suns will do damage in the regular season with those three scorers. Um, 2 or 3 years ago, those were arguably the three best scorers in the league: Beal, Booker, and Durant. So, um, I don't think they're the top four. I think that rules out the top four.
Yeah.
Let me just while I'm explaining this, I'll get the team list up. But
You had Minnesota, who was
uh,
8.
yeah, maybe Minnesota. They're keeping the same team, which I'm happy with, unless they trade Cat for that third pick, which has been circulating a little bit, but it could just be smoke and mirrors. Um,
Dallas.
Dallas, no, they're not really a regular season team. Pelicans would be good if they stay healthy and they keep their team. The Kings did really well. I'm gonna put Thunder around 6.
Okay.
Maybe 7th if you consider Lakers a threat. But I don't think they're better than the teams I just said. The Suns, the Nuggets, um, they won't be better than the Warriors, the Pelicans, maybe if they're healthy, and the Grizzlies, Kings. Yeah, I'll put Thunder 7th. I think Chet coming in is just exactly what they need at the 5. They didn't even have a 5-man at all. I'm pretty sure it was all forwards, and they were running them at the 5. So I think the Thunder are going to be really good this next year. It's one of my teams to watch, especially since the Wizards aren't going to be watchable next season. I'll definitely be keeping up with the Thunder and the Pelicans to see how Dice and Giddy go. So hopefully they do all right next year. And maybe Shea Gilgeous is a good pick for MVP. Who knows? But I think Chet might be a low key rookie of the year pick, if you're willing to bet against Wembanyama, which I'm not. So
Yeah, I mean,
I think Thunder are going to be good. I think they're going to be 6-7. What do you reckon?
yeah, it's not a bad spot. I think you got to. It depends what happens with Portland. Like you said, if they get Paul George, I don't think they'll be better than the Blazers.
Yeah.
But speaking of Dallas, has there been any talks about Kyrie moving? Because that I've
The word is he's going to stay. So I think they're looking to move. I think they're looking to move their 10th pick tomorrow for something big. Maybe it's going to be Aiton. I know Suns need to unload that contract to get somewhat of a bench next season. Maybe they trade the 10th and Hardaway Jr. to the Suns for Aiton. Maybe they go towards Miles Turner. Maybe Pacers want that 10th pick. Maybe they get Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. I'm not too sure, but the Mavericks need to do something with that roster.
yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't working in the second half, but you know, teams have bad years and bad, halves of a season. And I think they've definitely got the firepower. And if Luka Kyrie make the playoffs, they're definitely a threat no matter what.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
but we'll see.
It's a
We'll see
shame if
tomorrow.
they go back with Kyrie, I reckon.
We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. Hopefully they get a big man. Maybe Aiton's the answer.
Yeah.
But they'll definitely have to move Christian Wood. I don't think that's working with him coming off the
Yeah, I
bench.
think they already said that, didn't they? They might have said we're not re-signing him or we're looking to I can't
Yeah,
remember one of them.
there's a lot of reports coming out, but that'll wrap us up this week. We appreciate you guys listening. I'll post our draft predictions in the morning and see how we go. And we've got a lot of clips coming out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So make sure you guys follow us on whatever podcast streaming platform you're listening on and YouTube. We appreciate you guys listening, and we'll catch you next week.